Hey, welcome to Pass or Play. All right, so we're doing Vampire Academy episode 6. So we open up with Rose. She's still dealing with the death of Mikhail, her friend. But since he was Strigoi and she killed him, she's going to get this sacred Moniha tattoo that's given to guardians for each Strigoi that they kill. It's one of the highest honors that you can get as a guardian, but she doesn't feel like she deserves it. And in the middle of the tattoo ceremony, before the captain starts to put the tattoo on the back of her neck, she gets up and she runs out of the ceremony, with the memories of Mac Hill kind of running through her mind. And the next thing we go to, Rose is at the church with Lissa, and Lissa's consoling her, saying, you killed Strigoi, not necessarily Mikhail, because he was no longer himself, and you saved all our lives. And, Rose is like, yeah, and Rose also is like, you're going to marry Jesse Zekos. He's a pervert, he's pompous, he's full of himself, he's a bit of an a-hole. But Lissa's like, I have to protect my family legacy, and marrying him would do that. And she also needs to go on this royal, tour as well to find out more about her spirit magic as well. So then the next thing we go to, Victor is getting ready to campaign for Monarch and also travel the royal tour as well. And though Mia is planning on going with him, they get a knock on the door saying that she's getting reprimanded for using her magic against Jesse, a royal vampire, which happened in the last episode. She started using her water magic against him. So now she's going to get reprimanded. And so now Mia can't go with Victor on the trip. So now it's going to have to be Sonia. She's going to go with Victor on the campaign tour. And so now we start with the rural tour. It begins, and they're going from like province to province. The queen lets the rural family council know that they need to stop being divisive of one another, and they need to put aside their politics. They need to choose the best person to unite the Dominion and not tear it apart for the next 200 years. Even though, even though she says that, like, you can see all the different royal family members kind of playing chess. People are going around talking to each other, trying to get votes and different things like that, trying to get people to sway, on their side and different things. And then in this episode too, we finally meet Mason's dad, and he actually is making money on non-royal Moroi who lost their guardians, and they're moving them to these relocation centers, but he's actually getting 5,000, I don't know, like Moroi money per head. And, he says the more Dampier bodies in the field, more Dampier guardians in the field means stronger security in the long run. And then Tatiana's talking to him, she says only one novice died in the testing field, and they are clearly capable at a younger age. But she says perhaps the seasoned Dampier needs to be tested regularly as well to make sure they're not past their prime. And so they're basically just, between the non-royal Moroi and then the Dampier, they're just kind of, they just see them as, they just see them as body and head counts. They're not really seeing them as like actual, I guess like vampires or, you know, vampire beings or whatever. So this is very interesting how they're very like cavalier, like, these are vampires, these are people, in their quote unquote dominion, and they're the way that they're talking about them is very a little callous. And you got guardians and you got the novices that are all within hearing distance of this too. So that's interesting. So then we go to Rose. She asked to be relocated to Carnegie Village, where Mikhail is from. Jesse's father. And then we go to Jesse's father says don't mess up things with Lissa by chasing after the girl Silva, which is basically, she's kind of like they call, basically they give away their, just like Dampier that kind of just give away their blood to the royals, on the streets, in the cars, different things like that. That's kind of what they're used for. But he literally grabs Jesse's balls and says, those are his as long as he's heir to the Zekko's name. And Jesse's father is kind of ruthless. He's a royal too, and again, Mary and Lissa will secure the Zekko's name as well, even though Lissa's doing it to secure the Dragomir name for her, her actual Dragomir name of her family. But it it benefits them both to have each other, even though neither one of them really cares for each other. Lissa doesn't really like Jesse. Jesse doesn't necessarily care for Lissa either. And then we go to Mia now is getting, she's like getting her hands like pierced and scarred in some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of torture device for attacking Jesse. It's like, I don't know, it's like it's like they're kind of like scarring her hands. I don't know, is it like did they like take away her magic, or is it just like, I mean, it's punishment, but they don't necessarily say why they're doing it. I guess it's just a lesson. Um, and she also goes to Christian to ask him to help her control her water magic better, because she feels that he is stronger with his fire magic than she is with her water magic, and she just kind of wants to learn from him. And then we go to Rose. She's going to the Carnegie Village to ask forgiveness from Mikhail's father and sister. And when she gets there, Sasha, the sister, she's like, "Fuck you, Rose." And then the father, who actually is dying, he says the one thing Mikhail feared was, the one thing that Mikhail feared was becoming Strigoi. And Rose saved him from that. And and Rose shouldn't feel guilty for killing the Strigoi. It wasn't Mikhail anymore. And she just feels really guilty. And then now we go to earlier, after Dane had kind of grabbed Jesse's balls in the party and told him to stay away from Silver. Jesse said he wanted to go. So Jesse, Lissa, and like three of the novices, they're driving back home. And when they go into this tunnel, they stop because there's like all these like giant rebel rocks that's blocking the rest of the way to go through the tunnel. And then once they stop the car and they see that, then there's all these rocks and rebels that drop on the other side of the tunnel and blocks them in completely. And then the Strigoi starts attacking them. Um, and then so Meredith, she gets slashed like in the chest. And one of the other novices, he gets his head, like they just rip his head off. And um, they end up getting help from more Dampier that ends up coming up, and then they end up helping them. But Lissa and Jesse, they're okay. But Meredith gets attacked, and again, the other novice gets his head pulled off. I don't remember his name, but it was one of the novices that was in the last episode that actually survived, but he didn't survive this one. He's dead now. And then so now we go to Sasha. She tells Rose, the doctor says, we go back to Rose out in Carnegie province. And, Sasha tells Rose, the doctor says that her father won't make it through that night. And, Rose says she will stay outside and keep a watch for Strigoi while Sasha stays inside the province, because they're trying to relocate. They're trying to relocate these. They're trying to relocate them from this province. And Dimitri says he and Rose, they have to go back and take everyone with them, because it's his orders that he's been given. And Rose is like, I don't follow orders. I don't think this is right. Trying to take Mikhail's dad from this place. He's sick. He's not really gonna make it. He can barely. Yeah, he's just like laying in this bed. He's weak and frail. He's not gonna make it. But again, they just care. Mason's dad. He just cares about. They just care about the money and per head count, whatever. And so now we go back to. We're back. I guess we're back in like the Dominion or the capital, and Meredith is in the infirmary, and she's like, she's bandaged up, she's healing, and Mia finds out, and and her and Meredith, they kiss for the first time in the infirmary. And then Lissa, she gets an invitation to Adrian Ishakov from, Zane's Echoes, Jesse's dad, to see Adrian's private art collection in regards to Vladimir, who was a spirit magic possessor, and she's just trying to learn more about her spirit magic. So she compels Adrian to basically show her his private collection, and he agrees, but it actually turns out that Adrian himself has spirit magic, so she didn't actually really compel him. He just kind of chose to do it. And at one point too, she ends up like taking like this kind of like hookah type thing at the party, and she's like falling asleep. And Adrian like dream walks into a dream and says, I can help you, but you need to wake up. And then she kind of realizes that, oh, he has spirit magic too. Let's see. And then we go back to Carnegie Province where Dimitri and Rose sets up like this fire ring kind of a thing around the entrance of where Mikhail's father and Sasha is, why he's like basically, where he is about to die. And they do end up getting attacked by Strigoi. So Dimitri and Rose are fighting the Strigoi, trying to protect the Carnegie Province. And then as this has actually happened, Mikhail's father dies, and then Sasha comes out to help Dimitri and Rose kill the two Strigoi, you know. Um, and then we go back to the royal tour where they're back at the party, and Tatiana, she calls Victor out saying that he incited the Dampier to neglect their sacred duty to protect the Moroi, or the Royal Moroi. She says Mikhail betrayed them by allowing himself to be turned into Strigoi with, Victor's help. And she's saying Mikhail was a traitor. And then Sonya's eyes go black and her fangs come out, and she just kind of basically comes and starts running towards Tatiana, but is held back by guardians. Um, and in that scene, Tatiana, she kind of deserved what she got. She even told at one point too in the scene earlier, she had told Sonya, that Mikhail wasn't as prepared as he thought that he was, since he got turned into a Strigoi. But they had a whole Bravo team in the last episode. The whole Bravo team basically got killed. For whatever reason, they decided to turn Mikhail into a Strigoi. But even in the last episode too, when they were releasing that Strigoi out into like the testing field, the guy who was supposed to send him out, he got turned into a Strigoi too. So I don't know. I think Tatiana was just trying to stir. She was clearly trying to stir some things with Sonya and Victor, but you know even though again though and this is another case where Tatiana is Mia attacked Arroyo, and now Tatiana has attacked I'm sorry, Mia attacked Jesse Arroyo, and now Sonya has attacked Tatiana, um and she is a royal too, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next episode. um And then we go into Dimitri. Dimitri tells one of the Dampier captains that Sasha died, because Sasha spoke out against the the royals relocating the non-royal Moroi, and then also training the Dampier and all that to the younger Dampier, the novices, to protect the royal families, with them dying and everything. And so Dimitri basically says that Sasha died, even though she didn't. She just basically ran away. And we go to after that we go to Dimitri ends up giving Rose the Moniha tattoo, and then they start to kiss and they start making out, and then it ends there. So um this this episode was, I mean, again, it's each episode they're moving, it's moving the story along. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Tatiana. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens to Sonya now that she's attacked Tatiana. um and there clearly is also something going on within, it's just a lot of politics. Again, this is kind of like House of Dragon to an extent, but, with the politics of all these different royal families and how they're kind of maneuvering, it's not necessarily clear who's going to take over for the queen next. But it's interesting. Tatiana really wants it. Victor wants it, but Victor is still sick. He's still taking medicine and stuff. Whatever song you did, she did heal him a little bit better. But there's just a lot of moving pieces, and Lissa, she's still trying to figure out about her spirit magic. She's going to try to marry Jesse. The dynamic of Jesse and his father, Zane, and how that relationship is. So it's a lot of moving pieces, just a lot of stuff going on. So I mean, yeah. So this is a very interesting episode. I would say I probably like last week's episode a little bit better, maybe because there was just more action. There was action in this though. There was there were like two different scenes where they're fighting Strigoi. So the balance of action and drama is good. Even though they say it's forbidden too in this episode, it was, it's forbidden for the for them to use magic. But I'm like, if I have magic and I'm fighting Strigoi, why wouldn't I use it? In the scene too earlier where the where Lissa and Jesse is getting attacked and the three novices, they're just staying in the car while the novices are trying to fight the Strigoi. Even though I'm not even sure what kind of magic Jesse has, but I mean, if they have magic, why can't they use it to protect themselves? It doesn't really make sense. At one point, the Strigoi was about to bite Jesse, and he just kind of was on the ground, tilting his head to the back like he was gonna let them do it. But one of the novices end up helping him. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, if they have magic, why not use it? It doesn't make sense. They're basically just, they're just putting all the Dampier to kind of just be like cattle. Yeah, they're supposed to protect them, but like if you have magic, you can use that to defend yourself too. But yeah, okay. But anyway, this was a good episode. If you like this review, hit the like button, comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Bye.